Hi, beautiful Libras. Hi. Hi, and welcome you into January 2018. Here we are. Here we are with a whole new set of energy, with a whole new set of influences going on. Saturn is now in your fourth house, Libra, home and family. Refining that vision, right? It's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. And, I'm not going to do a ton with astrology. I'm going to just highlight a few things. Mostly the moon. January is a moon-focused month, and it's very powerful in the season of Capricorn and then going into Aquarius. The moon is doing all sorts of things. I mean, because it's a longer month, we have really 3 major moon moments within the confines of January. So on the 1st of the year, here we are. We have a Cancer full moon. That's your 10th house of career. So it's going to be highlighting that. And honestly, with this moon cycle, I had this intuitive question to ask my Librans. And that question was, what do you emanate? What do you emanate in this life? I feel like a lot of you experimented with what you were emanating over the last year or two. With Saturn in your 3rd house of communication, how are you communicating? How are you doing that? You found that there were some ways that were not working and some ways that were. Well, now the question is, how does it feel? Not so much, okay, what you're saying, what you're not saying, but what kind of emotional emanation are you putting forward into the world? As we go into 2018, this is going to be a big question for you because we have so much emphasis on that 4th house. And we have emphasis on that 4th house on the Capricorn new moon on the 16th. I'm looking at all my notes because, you guys, it's just, there's a very powerful energy going on here. And there's a lot of asking of Librans, actually. I mean, I think 2018, it's funny. I'm coming right into this reading and I feel the sense of you being asked some very essential questions about where your energy is and what that's feeling like and how you can kind of help yourself to reduce the wobble and feel a little bit more centered and feel a little bit more grounded and a little bit more connected with what you're really wanting to manifest. It's been, like I said, I think 2017 was kind of this year of like all over the place, right? And I can tell you right now, I haven't laid out all the cards yet. We're only 3 deep, but they're all cups energy. And we'll talk about this, but when we have this much cups, what this is telling me is that January is a time where you are absolutely going to be figuring out what good relationships, what good emotional health looks like, because these are cards of working to figure that out, working through the process of what feels good and what doesn't. So, finally on January 31st, we have the Leo eclipse. It's a full moon, full eclipse in Leo. We've had these big Leo Aquarius axis moon influences going on for this last year and we're continuing here with this January 31st eclipse, which is in your 11th house of your platonic friendships, the people that you have around you. And all 3 of the placements for the moon this month are about 1, your reputation in the world, the work you do in the world, 2, the 4th house, your family, your internal space, and 3, your platonic space. So there's a really strong thing here, how you're relating on the individual level, on the home internal level, and on the friendship level. And that's why I'm saying, how do you emanate? What are you emanating? What are you attracting in? Where are you feeling that maybe you are a little wobbly or uncertain about what you want next? January is a great time, and this moon cycle is a great time to connect in with that. That's what I'm saying here. So you may be just finding that you're tweaking that, you're fine-tuning it, you're noticing when you feel a little wobbly or uncomfortable, and then taking a moment to pause and getting it right in yourself. Getting it right. I mean, there's no right or wrong, but getting it so that it feels good to you. Because I do feel, with the culmination of 2017 and everything that brought you, it did leave you kind of feeling like, okay, what's next? What's next? Who do I want in my internal space? what do I want my friendships to look like? What's going to help me feel my best? And so January is going to be a time of a little bit of soul searching on that level. And I can tell you, just looking at these cards, that that is absolutely the case. So let's go through these. I have 9 cards out here, and they really work their way through the month. Now, I do kind of, this month we're going to be working in triplets. So 3, 3, 3. So they're not really by week, but they are kind of by this moon cycle as we kind of phase through it. And as it progresses, what's going on. And we really do start here with a very emotionally introspective triplet scenario here. We have the 4 of Cups, the 3 of Cups, and the 7 of Cups. So, you know, this 4 of Cups makes me think about looking back over 2017 and looking back over what was lost, what was revised in maybe surprising ways, and the regrets you may have. Now, don't waste too much time on those regrets, because there's work, if you can sit and pause and just think about where you're putting your energy, where you're exposing yourself, where you've maybe held back or you haven't shown up for people, anything like that, and think about practical ways to move forward, you won't get stuck in this. But it is a retrospective energy, and I do think that right after New Year's, you know, sometimes we have that little bit of that heavy feeling of like, okay, there's a new year, what am I going to do with it? There may be a little bit of that heaviness, and it does seem to have to do with your friendships. It does seem to have to do with the people around you, you know, the people that maybe you were close to. Some of you may have strained friendships, strained relationships with somebody. And, you know, the 3 of Cups is actually a really wonderful energy of celebration and revelry and creativity and connecting with people. And I think you have the option to connect with people. But here's the thing. You know, doing this means you have to show some kind of wound or some kind of emotional process. This 3 of Cups is saying you have to do that in order to be a part of the revelry. But this 3 of Cups is surrounded by these 2 bad boys right here, right? And the 4 of Cups and the 7 of Cups are much more in your head emotionally. And they have a lot to do with fear and nervousness about exposing your internal world. And I'm getting that. I think you have been through some transformation and you want to keep it on the surface. You want to keep everything light and fluffy and comfortable. But there's something going on here with things that you walked away from 2017, and we're in this new energy. Like I said, Saturn is in your 4th house of your home and your family, your internal space, and it's asking you to comb through that. And I do think you have some wounds that you guys are scared to share. You're scared that it will fall apart. But what this is saying to me, what this triplicate is saying to me, is that this 3 of Cups, the way you get here, the way you have these friendships, the way you have support, is you show your wounds. And you're honest about it without being, you know, demanding. You're just showing, you're sharing. It helps other people connect to you at a deeper level, and that is a calling for you. So that's the first thing. You know, this first week or so of the month, I think you're going to be feeling that influence. Now, as we move into the month a little bit further here, the next 3 cards that I have are a lot more about what you're doing in the world and where you're putting your foot. And it's actually really good energy. We have the 10 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles, and the Fool. So, you know, this 10 of Pentacles, you know, like I said, there's this emphasis on what you're emanating and what you want to build. When I see the 10 of Pentacles, like, this is long range vision, right? This is looking 10, 20 years down the line, honestly. And zooming out far enough to think about what you're wanting to manifest, what legacy you're wanting to leave. Now, this is great for long-term partnerships, long-term investments, investing in a career choice or in a monetary choice or in a home choice, housing choice that lasts. It's very good for material success. It's very good for those long-term things that we want around us in life, like a house or a career or even a partnership. But it does require you to have a little bit of faith in yourself and your vision. And I do think that that's part of it. And the other part of this, how you get this 10 of Pentacles, is we have this 6 of Pentacles, right? And I keep getting this sense, like I said, like wobbly is the word that I'm picking up, Libra. Coming out of 2017, I think you felt a little wobbly about give and receive here, right? The 6 of Pentacles is very much about where are you overgiving or undergiving. And like I was saying at the beginning of this reading, with the showing of your emotional side, the showing of where maybe you're feeling weak or misunderstood or ignored or stressed, and you feel maybe isolated from other people, I think part of that is that you haven't been giving of the more emotionally true, raw side of yourself. And on the flip side, I think you haven't let other people know what you would like to receive. And so they don't know. They often won't know. People won't know what you need to receive in order to feel emotional support, emotional fulfillment, emotional understanding, emotional growth. And so what I'm getting with this Six of Pentacles specifically in this context is that in order for you to get this Ten of Pentacles and feel really good, which I do see that here for you guys, and I think it's there. It wants to come on in. But there has to be this reciprocity. So you have to let people know how they can give to you. And you also have to let people in and allow them to give to you. And you also have to give of your time as well. And I think you've been just a little reserved. It's funny. It's like, I almost feel like you guys just want to retract in a little bit in January. You're like kind of like wanting to hide at the beginning, at least the first half of the month before we hit Aquarius, kind of hide in your shells. And maybe that's okay. I mean, it's okay to take some time at the beginning of a new year, beginning of a new Saturn cycle in your 4th house to do that internal work, to get this grounding done, to get this emotional healing done. It's a very important time. 4th house energy is very important. However, you're being asked at some point here in the month, when this feels right, to step out a little bit. You know, the Fool is about hope, innocence, belief in the big process. This is the hero of the hero's journey. And this guy is willing to step from what was known before, is willing to go on that journey to the next land, to the land that nobody's seen. And that means for me, when I see this, that you all have a new set, you have a new horizon that you're looking at. It's going to free you from everything that was in 2017, but it does ask total vulnerability. And Libra, I think that's hard for you sometimes. That's hard for you sometimes because you're very good at keeping the diplomacy and keeping things flowing, keeping things moving. But underneath the surface, you could be building up all sorts of little wounds, little nicks and cuts that are leaving you feeling a little breathless, a little tired. And honestly, what I'm saying here and what I'm seeing here is that in opening yourself up and playing this role of the hopeful person that shows their wounds, shares where they're needing help out, you can build the life you want. And I think you'll find you have the emotional support to be a little bit more honest. But you have to do it in a very genuine way. You can't do it just to get what you want. You have to do it because you want that give and receive. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, really big stuff, Libra. This is honestly a very deep reading. I'm surprised, you know, coming into this, I did have that question on my notes. What are you emanating? But, you know, it's a great question for anybody, any time of the year, any day of the year. We're all having to ask that question. But there's something going on here with this energy where I'm just getting the sense that you have hidden something that's hurting. And this could be in any number of relationships in your life. And this would be a really great month to do some healing, sharing. That's all I'm going to say. And part of the reason I say that is the last 3 cards. So as we move into Aquarius season, as we move into the 5th house, Sun going into your 5th house, a lot of energy is going to start moving into your 5th house. It's a beautiful time. I love Aquarian energy. I think for Librans, it's a really good time to start to feel kind of a blossoming out again, a creative energy out again. And your creativity and your output and your ability to build this Ten of Pentacles energy has everything to do with the wounds you've had in your life. There's some kind of weird empowerment, and I'm going to show you why, because the last 3 cards are really intense. We have the 8 of Swords, the 10 of Swords, and the Lovers. A lot of air energy here, right? 8 of Swords, that feeling blinded and cornered. And then the 10 of Swords, that feeling of exhaustion and burnout and closing out of a cycle that needs to end. And then finally the Lovers, a divergence in the path, the connecting with other people, right? These are all such huge energies. They really are. But what these 2 right here especially speak to, for me, with you this month, is that there's something digging at you. And if you let it linger in here, in the dungeon of your mind somewhere, because you want to push it down and you just want to move on, you want to just move on to like the better stuff, it's going to keep popping up. And what this wants you to do to connect with others is to share, you guys. You got to share. You have to share. It also suggests to me you're closing something out. You're closing out a pain cycle. You're closing it out, which is kind of heavy. I mean, this January, from what I'm seeing in this reading, Libra, is very much about you coming to terms with what the last 2 years have given you, sharing it with others, allowing it to go, and then this is the key, releasing it from then on. Not having to go back over it. Once you've shared with the people who it's pertinent to share with, there is an asking here for you to choose a path that, not the right path, that's never the way I want to put that, but choose a path that feels good, because what this is inviting you to do is choose the party, choose the fun, choose the warmth, choose the connection, choose the healing, rather than kind of the self-punishment and that weight and that feeling that you have to do things a certain way, or that you have to present a certain way in order to be accepted. This is saying to me, choose the softer side, choose the deeper side, and you will be met. You will be met. It's so funny how our pain and our wounds and our experiences are actually such a great doorway into deep connection. And I think our society often tells us that it's actually the opposite. Society tells us to fake it till you make it, chin up. But I find that, when we are being really genuine, not playing a martyr, not complaining, but really genuinely saying, wow, that really hurt when you disappeared for those 2 months and I didn't hear from you, friend. And I want to know what was happening and how we can fix that. There's something so deeply bonding about those moments. And I think that's the theme. That's the theme. And the other theme is that in doing that, you're going to be building some really good things. You have really good money energy this month. I have to say, really good material energy for getting that foundation. And then the deeper question is your emotional journey. And it's there strong. Now, I'm going to pull one card for my Cosmic Tarot. It just came out. It is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is this emotional burnout. Now, you guys, or this mental kind of burnout, right? So here's the clicking thing with this Cosmic Tarot card. You're going to be tempted to do the thing of just staying in your mind with it and wheeling around and around and around, holding it close. Just surviving, getting to survival mode. Five of Swords in some ways for me is dealing with the world and not trusting yourself and not trusting the situation and just surviving. Just make it through. Just make it through if you can. But this is going to slow you down a little bit. So be aware that when you feel like retracting, when you feel like hiding, think about why that is and what would be the worst outcome from sharing of yourself in a genuine way. Because what I'm seeing here is that you will feel so much better and so much lighter once we hit Aquarius season if you can just share the wounds. You can even share that you're a little freaked out in your head and people would be like, oh, I'm so glad you told me. I would have no way of knowing because you're so good at covering it up. I know you are. I know you are. With that being said, I think that January is going to be beautiful. Like I said, there's a lot of supportive energy here for you. And it's helping you to refine. It's setting the stage. It's setting you up for a great 2018. And it is deep, you guys. It is asking you to go very deep this month. So roll with it. Take a deep breath. Don't get too mental about it, in your head about it. Use your emotional guidance system. It will be very good for you. I do private readings. I'm going to leave my website, my email, Instagram, everything into the description box, as well as a few other goodies in there. So please go check that out. I would love to hear from you. And I will be doing moon videos for the whole month. So Moon Magic, my series on moon, the moon action on the full and the new moons will be coming regularly. So with the Leo eclipse, with the Capricorn new moon, with the Cancer full moon, you're going to get some extra info there as well. So with that being said, I love you, Libra. I'm so with you on this emotional journey. In fact, I have a couple Librans in my life who I am, currently we're going to some of these beautiful places, and I have to tell you, it is such a fun ride when we both are there together. So I'm sending you all my love and have a beautiful new year, and I will see you in February.